What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you not to be sliding into the DMs of these bigot Beckys, but you did it anyway, and now she's online and in Congress exposing your ass. And I'm black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So I really want to talk about this right here, folks, and it has to do with these black liberal males who are just really slimy and really weird and perverted acting, especially behind closed doors. And the person I'm talking about is Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Now, I've talked about him before on this channel, especially when it comes to his just blind support of anyone the Democratic Party just pushes out there. So because the Democratic Party is pushing Kamala Harris, he is out there being like one of her biggest supporters. And he was the one that I said in my last video about the vice president. He was the one that was going online and just over the top simping for black women, like just real dirtbag stuff. Like in my opinion, I have no problem with any black man praising black women. I do it on my channel, right? And I do it on my social media, both my Patreon and also on my Facebook. I have a whole photo gallery called Black Women Are the Best, right? I have no problem with that. But when you do it, when you're just pandering to black women and just to just to maneuver them or to push them to do something, I think that's really disingenuous. And I don't like that. When it's not sincere, I think it's very, very detrimental. Okay. And that's what Michael Eric Dyson has been doing. Like he was saying, as a black man, I apologize for not supporting you and all this other nonsense. Like just stuff that feeds into the whole gender war narrative between black men and black women. But very recently, he was on like one of these like interview panels on this news show, and he was going back and forth with a congresswoman, and she's a congresswoman from South Carolina. Her name is Nancy Mace, and I'll just say that's a good last name for her because she looks like she got hit in the face with the mace. She's one of these, I call her a bigot Becky or a bigot bust down because she's one of these white females who she's a conservative and she's always, kind of positioned herself on a lot of these conservative talk shows and conservative outings as like the quintessential conservative Republican American female, just very waspish, very, I guess you can say, very proper and upper middle class to rich, just she always presented herself as that. But, at her core, she's nothing but a bigot Becky. And, like they put her on TV in like these nice outfits and stuff like that because you got these old Republican white males who like to play with themselves while watching stuff like Fox News and whatnot. So they love women like her. But apparently, Michael Eric Dyson likes her too. Now on the panel that they were both on, they were arguing back and forth, and it was one of the dumbest arguments ever. They were arguing over how to pronounce Kamala Harris's first name. It's really interesting that these Democratic shills, they can't talk about any type of policy that Vice President Harris offers to black people, but they'll argue till the sun goes down about her racial makeup or how to pronounce her first name. So I guess because Nancy Mace was calling her Kamala and Michael Eric Dyson's like, no, it's Kamala. It's Kamala. That's how you pronounce it. It's like, and I've seen them do this before. It's almost like a straw man argument because the Democrats really have no policies or anything to talk about of substance. So what they want to do is get the conversation to argue about race or to argue about, how to pronounce a name. And basically, Michael Eric Dyson was calling Nancy Mace, saying that she was basically a racist or dismissive of people of color, quote unquote, because he didn't want to call her a racist. He said, you're not a racist, but you're being very dismissive of people of color, that whole people of color nonsense, right? Because Nancy Mace refused to pronounce Kamala's name the right way. Now, when she was running for Congress, for the Senate in California, they were calling her Kamala. When she was doing her first presidential run, they were calling her Kamala, but now all of a sudden you have to pronounce it Kamala, and it's just ridiculous. Like I said, it's semantics. Basically, you put based on what type of accent you have, you can pronounce it either way. That's the truth of the matter. Okay, it's not that big of a deal in how you pronounce it, but they're making it seem that way. They're going overboard with the woke liberalism in order to, like I said, distract you from the fact that she has no actual policies. So, Nancy Mace and Michael Eric Dyson did this whole performative nonsense on this show, but after the show was over, they took a picture together. And they're pretty close in this picture. Michael Eric Dyson has his arms around this white woman here. And what's interesting is, I heard some other people talk about this whole incident, but they kind of left this part out, and the fact that, in front of the cameras, I always tell you that these political pundits and these politicians, it's like pro wrestling. So in front of the camera, they're enemies, but behind camera and behind closed doors and behind that curtain, they're best of buds. And that's what was happening here. They were taking a picture together, and I guess Michael Eric Dyson got the picture, and he decided to go even further with it and send Nancy Mace a text message basically saying, shush or shh, don't tell anybody we look good together, right? And, I guess she tried to laugh it off, and he was just telling her how beautiful she was. Now, once again, this is a white woman who I said has the perfect name because it looks like she got hit in the face with a mace. I call her, she's definitely a butterface. She's very strange looking to me, but, to each his own. I'm sure there's someone who has different tastes who thinks she's just absolutely gorgeous. Apparently, Michael Eric Dyson is one of those people. He thinks she's beautiful, right? So she decided to take those text messages and expose him for doing that. She went into white female victim mode, and she went super Karen on him because she didn't just expose him on social media. She went to Congress. Yeah, she printed out the text message and the picture, and she showed it in Congress and put it in the record for the House of Representatives, so everyone knows. So for all time, it's on record that Michael Eric Dyson is a slimy, nasty old simp who tries to slide into women's DMs, and he was trying to slide into this white woman's DMs. Now, when she did this, or when she exposed him, then all of a sudden Michael Eric Dyson, he's trying to run interference and clear his name, and now all of a sudden he says, yeah, she's racist now because she did that. She's trying to play the victim here. So now all of a sudden, any other time you'll have these black liberal males say that you have to believe all women, and there is such thing as you got to protect all women, and women are victims. But now when a woman exposes him, now all of a sudden she's being racist and she's playing victim. You see how these guys jump back and forth depending on what their situation is. So that's why I say you can't trust these guys. They have no integrity. They have obviously no type of discipline, because as someone who works, has worked with a lot of women, who has had women work for him, I can tell you that being professional is paramount, and you don't mix. You don't do flirting things. You don't flirt messages. You don't touch them in a certain way. That the air of professionalism must be paramount. You got to have some discipline. Be a man. Being a man is all about having discipline and being professional. So as a man, he should have never done this. You know, if she's a colleague or someone that you always talk with on a professional level, you shouldn't be putting your arms around her like this in this picture. You also should not be sending her little nasty texts like this, right? But that's what these Negroes do. And I've exposed other black liberal males for doing the same thing. People like Touré. I don't know if you remember this, but Touré, he got caught a couple of years ago where, you know, he was one of the biggest proponents of Me Too and talking bad about Bill Cosby. But no soon as this Negro got in private, he would always try to simp, especially over these white women, because he loved these white women as well, and he tried to like send messages to this white woman or try to holler at her and said he wanted to sodomize her. Basically, I'm not going to use the words that he used, but that's what he wanted to do to this white female. So that's what I mean. Like these guys, they talk all this mess about how much they love black women and how much you know, how they need to worship black women and they simp for black women. But as soon as you give them the chance, they're in the DMs of a white female. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to flirt with white females. And if you gave them the opportunity, they would sleep with or have an affair with a white female. Because Michael Eric Dyson is married. He's a married man. And he's out here flirting with this woman like this. Now, as a married man myself, you should know definitely you shouldn't be talking like that with any woman, right? It's inappropriate. But he did it anyway. And I'm kind of glad. While I don't like Nancy Mace, you know, the lady looks like she got hit in the face with a mace. I think she did a good job exposing him. I'm glad she did it. Now, she did it for political reasons because Michael Eric Dyson was basically trying to make her come off as a racist. So this was her way of retaliating against him. Now, I'm sure he's probably done this before, right? She probably has all types of messages from him and pictures with him, hugged up with him, rubbing her fake titties on him and everything like that. But, you know, now that he had called her racist and, you know, was kind of messing up the game for her, she decided to expose him, right? And good, I'm glad she did it. I'm glad she did it, all right? Because these Negroes need to be exposed. Like, once again, this fool was talking all this mess about praising black women, how much he loves black women. But like I said, as soon as he got the opportunity, he was in the DMs or in the text messages of this haggard-looking witch of a white female and got exposed by her. So, I mean, you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I'm going to see if I can find that video I did of Touré, because I did do a report on it when it first happened on my old channel. I'm going to put it up on my Patreon, though, and so you guys can see it. It'll be in the classics, the Mad Black Classics, okay? You guys can go watch it there on my Patreon. So you folks, let me know what you feel about this in the comments section. I very much love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.